Welcome back to the Kingdom Classroom. Today we are again continuing our series, Battlefield Lessons, Wars of the Bible. And so today we're learning about a battle that is going to teach us something different from the previous. And that is because winning isn't just about the people that are necessarily fighting on the battlefield. Sometimes the real battle is being fought by the person that is actually behind the scenes praying. I want you to think about a time that you ever had someone tell you, I'm praying for you. Sometimes we hear that so often that we forget how actually powerful it is. And so that is what we are learning in the Bible today. There was a battle in the Bible where you could literally see and watch the difference that someone's prayer had made. When the prayer went up, the people of God were winning. But when the prayer stopped, that's when the enemy started to win. And so today we're going to Rephidim, and we're going to learn that prayer doesn't just start the victory, but prayer is what is going to sustain you throughout a victorious battle. And so, just to set the scene, we're back with the Israelites. If you had watched one of my previous lessons, you'll remember what exactly had just happened. We had these people who had been enslaved in Egypt, and God sent Moses to lead them out. And the Pharaoh had chased them. And they got into the point of reaching the Red Sea. And when there seemed to be no way out, God had opened the Red Sea. Israel was able to walk through on dry ground, but the Pharaoh and his army that followed behind them, they were completely destroyed. And so in this moment, Israel had just witnessed literally one of the greatest miracles in the Bible. And you would think that after seeing something like this, that they would never doubt God again, right? You would think, but that is not exactly what happens, because that's one of the things, that I really love about the Bible, right? It doesn't hide people's humanity. And so then we move on, and Israel is now traveling through the wilderness. And baby, wilderness life ain't easy. Wilderness life is difficult. The people of God, they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're tired. And by the time we get to the beginning of Exodus 17, they've arrived at a place called Rephidim. But there's a problem. There's absolutely no water. So the people begin complaining to Moses, and they're saying like, yo, bro, you brought us all the way out here, and now this is what we're going to die of? We're going to die of thirst? But yet again, God is a God who provides. And so God tells Moses to go strike a rock. And when he does, water comes out and the people drink. Wonderful. Problem solved. And you might be thinking, all right, now everyone can rest. But then we get to verse 8 of Exodus 18, and it says that then came Amalek. Boom. Just like that. Another battle. Well, who the heck is Amalek? Okay, and so if you're new to the Bible, you may be wondering, again, like I just said, who in the world is Amalek? And so the Amalekites were a group of people who became enemies of Israel. And what makes this attack specifically disturbing is that if we think about Deuteronomy later, it really tells us more details about what happened. I won't get into too much detail, but it says that Amalek attacked Israel when they were tired, when they were weak, when they were worn out. They attacked the people, but not just any portion of the people. They attacked the people at the back of the group. And so I want you to think about who's normally at the back of a huge traveling group, right? These people have come a long way. We've got the elderly, we've got the sick, We've got the tired. We have the people that just can't keep up. And so Amalek didn't begin by attacking Israel's strongest warriors, the people that were in front. They attacked the vulnerable. Doesn't that sound like the enemy? The enemy is going to look for weakness, exhaustion, isolation. He is going to look for the moment when you think you can't take one more thing, right? And so Israel had just escaped slavery. They had just crossed a sea. They were hungry. They were thirsty. They were exhausted. And now all of a sudden they are under attack. And so Moses makes a decision. He makes a decision to turn to a man named Joshua. And this is one of the first times Joshua steps into a major leadership role. Moses tells him, hey, sorry guys, choose some men, go out and fight Amalek. So Joshua goes down into the valley, but Moses says, nah, I'm going up on the hill. Moses takes something with him. He takes the staff of God, the same staff that is associated with God's power in Egypt. This is the same staff that Moses had just lifted at the Red Sea. And so Joshua goes down to fight, but Moses, he decides that he's going to go up. And he's not going up to fight. He's going up to pray. He's going up to intercede. And so we have two people, two different positions, but the same battle. I need somebody to catch that, because sometimes we only celebrate the people that we see fighting. But we have to understand there are victories happening because somebody that we can't see, the person that we don't see that's praying, right? And so the battle begins, right? We've got swords swinging. There are soldiers fighting. Joshua is leading the people of Israel. But up on this hill, something strange is happening. And then we get into verse 11 that tells us that whenever Moses held up his hands, Israel was prevailing. But when Moses lowered his hands, he realized that Amalek had prevailed. Again, hands up, Israel's pushing forward. Hands down, Amalek pushes back. Hands up, people of Israel are victorious. Hands down, they're defeated. And so we're probably thinking, well, what's in his hands? What's magical about his hands? Right? Hold your hands up and all your problems disappear. So his hands represented a dependence on God. This battle is teaching the people of Israel that your strength alone is not going to be able to sustain your victory. I don't know about you, but if you tell me to raise my hand for an entire battle, my hands are going to get tired. It's natural. Your hands will get tired in this position. And so the Bible tells us that Moses got tired. Moses' hands were heavy. Of course they are, right? I can do this maybe for 10 minutes, maybe, right? Imagine doing it for 4 hours, 5 hours, hours upon hours. And so Moses loved God, but again, his arms still get tired, right? Moses is a great leader, but his arms still get tired. Moses has faith, but his arms still get tired. And I know that there's somebody listening today that needs to hear this, that being tired does not mean that you don't have faith. Sometimes it just simply means, Lord, I am tired. And so that's where the two men enter the story. We have Aaron and we have Hur. And Aaron and Hur see Moses struggling. And they don't stand there saying, come on, Moses, put your hands up, pray a little harder, have a little bit more faith. No. The Bible tells us that Aaron and Hur, they brought him a stone so that he could sit down. And once he was seated, Aaron stood on one side, Hur stood on the other, and together they were able to hold Moses' hands up. And I just love this picture. You've got a man sitting and two people by his side holding up. And that is because Moses could not sustain himself. He needed people. And I think that is even part of today's lesson as well. Sometimes the strongest thing that you can do is admit, I need somebody to help me hold my hands up. I need help. And so then the battle continues, right? The sun is moving across the sky. I'm trying to picture this for you, right? Joshua is still fighting. Moses is still praying. Aaron and Hur are still holding up the hands of Moses. And Exodus tells us that Moses' hands remained steady until sunset. And then we get to verse 13 that tells us that Joshua defeated Amalek. Great. Done. Wait, who won the battle? You telling me it was Joshua? Yes. Was it Moses? Yes. Was it Aaron and Hur? Yes. All of them won the battle because everybody had a role. We have Joshua, who was there on the battlefield fighting. We had Moses interceding, and we had Aaron and Hur as support. And God ultimately gave the victory. And so I don't want you to miss the fact that some of us want to be Joshua so bad. We want to be the person that everybody sees winning the battle. But God hasn't called us all to be Joshua. Sometimes God calls us to be Moses. Sometimes God calls us to be the person praying for the very person that is fighting. And sometimes God is just going to call you to be Aaron and Hur. You're not leading the army. You're not standing on the mountain, but you're simply helping somebody who is getting tired. But we have to understand that all three of those roles, Joshua, Moses, Aaron, and Hur, matter to God. And so today's lesson on the battlefield is that prayer is going to be what sustains victory. If we learned nothing else from the Red Sea, it taught Israel that God can fight for you, right? Rephidim taught Israel that you still have to depend on him even amidst the battle, even while you're fighting. And so we have to understand that some battles aren't over in just a moment. There are some battles that are going to require persistent, consistent prayer. You prayed yesterday. Great. Pray today. You prayed last week. Great. Keep praying. You've been praying for that child. Great. Keep praying. You've been praying for your marriage. Keep praying. You've been praying for direction. Again, consistent prayer. Because sometimes the breakthrough isn't about praying one time.